It is me, but it's hard to put in.
All right. Now
Yay!
we have sound. Yay, sound.
Is this the old one?
Yes, that's the
Okay, thanks. I have a good time. Mark's getting ready to go on a motorcycle ride, so I want him to have a great time. All right. He's like, freedom. Well, hello. I'm sorry that we had turned the microphone on, but in the 10 minutes since I had it ready, the battery died. So, hello, everybody. It is good to be back here with you. It's hot down here for what I'm used to. This is the basement. Normally it's pretty cool, but it's been hot. And my poor daughter's air conditioning went out in her downstairs. So I said, if you need a place to stay, she said, well, the upstairs air conditioning is working, so I can stay in one of the kids' bedroom. But, I feel bad for her because I tell you what, air condition is needed in these hot times, I tell you. But anyway, I'm very glad here to see you. Oh, thank you. I'll make sure to tell him y'all were wishing that. He has been really looking forward to taking a motorcycle ride for quite a while. Oh, it's so good I was like, hi, Bonnie. I got so excited, but let's see all who's here. BB was the first person here. That's exciting. Hi, Miss Marcia. Meltem is here. Oh, she's on a bus ride. Aw. So she's headed back home from her vacation. I hope you had a good time, sweetheart. I hope you did. So, this is nice. Now let me see. Kastamonu. Wow. That's neat. And you live in Istanbul. Oh, isn't that exciting? I love thinking about exotic places, and especially one that's like the birthplace of civilization. So that's pretty awesome. And I've got some pictures of her time there. So I can't wait to show you. All righty. So now let me see. Whoops. I didn't want to go past everybody. Polly's here. Hello, Miss Polly. Lisa's here. Yay. We missed Lisa, didn't we? Laura's here. Oh, it's so good seeing all of you. And then Kathy Klein is here. How wonderful. Anne is here. I got something to tell Anne in a little bit. I'm glad that Bonnie was right on the ball, Polly. Laura, thank you for telling me that there was no sound. And because I don't often forget anymore, but technical difficulties can happen. What can you say? So, okay, let's see. Betty Middleton, yay, she's here. Cheryl Hogan, how great to see you, Cheryl. Jody's here. Oh, it's so good to see all of you. Sonia, hi, dear Sonia. So I tell you what, with this hot weather, everybody just kind of stay in and take it easy. I get frustrated because I want to go outside and work. I went out to my little garden this week and picked a handful of green beans. You would have thought those green beans were made of gold. I got so excited about them. And I didn't have enough to share with Mark, but he's like, don't worry about sharing with me. He doesn't trust vegetables from our garden. He is so funny. He used to smoke cigarettes. Do you know how many chemicals are in that? And yet when I pick something fresh out of the garden and start eating it, he's like, there could be bug spittle on that. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I think that's funny. And I've got a half a dozen tomatoes that are almost ready to start ripening. I had one that ripened, but what do y'all get this too? The first one had blossom end rot. And it seems like every time I grow tomatoes, one of them gets blossom end rot. So, oh, it is so good to see all of you. Okay. Well, this week I had to go back on my antibiotic. I had a UTI, and when I had been off the medicine for about 5 days, my UTI came back. And actually, I realize now it never fully went away. And so I had called in and said, can I get some more medicine? No, I haven't heard from Edwin E. So if she pops in today, let us know. So exactly, Polly. You don't know. I mean, he only trusts processed foods, which is hilarious because, no, that's the opposite. But he was always a city boy, so he's not used to that. I was hoping to bring Kiwi down today because she's been doing pretty much better now that she's done with her molting, but she ended up biting me. See that bruise right there and that swelling? She bit me hard today. So I said, nope. And I didn't even let her out of her cage. And I said, you're not going downstairs today. Not when you bite mama like that, So she'll be back soon, but I might be wearing gloves because she is hanging on to that aggression that she had during her molting. So, and poor, Finney, the cockatiel, he's so gentle and sweet. So, he's like, I would never bite you. So, but he doesn't want to be held. But anyway, so, okay. Yeah, exactly, Jody. Exactly. He wears a face shield, but who knows what he ingests? So he cracks me up because, when I was a kid, my parents had garden. Some of the years they had a vegetable garden, and my mother's side of the family were farmers, pig farmers. So, we used to go out on their farm. And I used to go sit by the pigs and feed them little treats and pet them unless they had babies. I made that mistake once. And luckily I got back over the fence before she got to me. But anyway, we used to love it. And my great uncle used to go pick us a watermelon right out of the garden. And we would sit there and we could eat all we wanted. Oh my gosh, that was heaven. A sun-warmed watermelon fresh out of the garden. So I'm looking forward to getting the tomatoes. And my favorite thing to do with fresh garden tomatoes is to have a bologna and tomato sandwich. I don't know why, but that just does it for me. BLTs would be nice too, but then you got to cook the bacon. So, but anyway, things are good. So I wanted to tell you about going back on the antibiotic because it's a tough one. This time it didn't hit me as hard as it did the week before, but it's still, between the UTI and the antibiotic, it makes you very tired. And when I got up and moved around too much, it made me nauseous. So I just want to warn you, I didn't get as many things done this week as I would have liked. I was hoping to clean house yesterday, but once I take the antibiotic, I just took my last one this morning. Once I take the antibiotic, all I want to do is just go lay down in bed. So when you got a watermelon out of the garden, Grandma's, I love it. I love it. Spit the seeds right there. Oh, and you like that too. That is great. We've had a problem lately with raccoons. We live right across from a little lake or a large pond, whatever you want to call it. And we get a lot of wildlife. We used to have a beaver. They had to humanely trap it and relocate it because it was killing all the trees. And we don't have the space on this little pond, big pond, whatever, to sustain a 50-pound raccoon. I mean, 50-pound beaver. It was a beaver and it was eating all the trees. Big black. It was darker than I thought. And so they had to we did it through some wildlife thing, the neighborhood association handled it properly. So anyway, but we get snowy white egrets. We get a great blue heron, ducks and geese. One year we had a swan, and you would think that that's a good thing, but the swans are very aggressive, and the swan chased off everything else. So I was glad when the swan decided to move on along. I think the lake was a little too busy for her because we get a lot of people walking around the lake. So anyway, I've seen red foxes, several. And of course, we have deer come right up in the yard, even give birth right over in our flower bed. We have possums occasionally, but we have a lot of raccoons. And I have a platform bird feeder in the backyard. And guess what? The raccoons love that. Yes, Polly. Our mama raccoon, are you ready? Mark thinks she has 5 babies. We were trying to count them, but they were they were up in the tree and hiding. But he said, Deb, I saw 6 out there. And then another time he saw another big raccoon. I don't know if it was male or female. If males are bigger, then it probably was a male. But every night she's been bringing her babies to the raccoon. And I found out that's why my flower bed has been decimated, because we had planted begonias and all this, and it's just been trodden down. I try to put pine straw in it and it gets scraped all away. So we were like, what do? We can go and yell at them, but they just go a little bit up the tree and then look at you. And I don't want them attacking the dogs. I don't want them to bring any kind of diseases with them. Around here, the thing you worry about with raccoons is rabies. Now, as long as they're out at night, that's considered normal behavior. It's when you see them out in broad daylight that you get a little worried. But anyway, so what Mark did is he ordered a motion detector sprinkler. And boy, is that neat. He set it very, so it just took the least little bit to set it off. And instead of, it's one of those pulse water sprinklers, but instead of going, it goes like this. And it comes back and forth. And so he ordered that and he hooked it up last night. But we've got to do something. For one thing, we only have 4 geriatric hens left, and the raccoons can tear through old wire, and they can, and luckily for some reason they haven't attacked the chickens yet. So I bet you their call is creepy. Foxes, oh my gosh, I was in the woods one time and I heard what sounded like a child screaming. It was a fox that came running right towards me, and I had to say, whoa, and it looked and went, oh, and took off the other way. So I love wildlife from a little bit of a distance, and I feel like around here, there's plenty. This is a very suburban neighborhood. A lot of the lots here are over an acre, and so they have plenty of other places, and don't hang out right in my backyard. So we'll see how that works. We will see how that works. So Mitty is here. Hi, sweetheart. Crafty Pat is here. I just saw her. Oh, gosh, this is great seeing you all. The one thing about doing the show is viewership drops off in the summer because people are traveling, vacation, have company over, whatever. So one got, oh no. Oh no. Oh goodness. Yeah, that I'm not a real big fan of raccoons. In fact, who was it? Was it Dolores that did artwork of a raccoon? And it was so realistic, it creeped me out. I had to shrink the picture down. In fact, someone has seen it recently. The raccoon, like it's in the jeans hanging on the clothesline. That raccoon was so realistic. I was like, that is a little tough to deal with. So let me go ahead and start talking about what I wanted to tell Anne. Anne, I hope you're still here, sweetheart. I hope you listened to what? Oh, $3.45 a pound. Ouch. For green tomatoes. I've never had fried green tomatoes, but I like the movie, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to have barbecue at that cafe, but, but anyway, I was showing Mark your work and talking to him about how I felt when you said, I'd like suggestions. And I'm like, and he understood what I meant. So I hope you listened to what I said last week. And we love your art. And if you want to learn how to make a boring landscape that's more realistic, then I'll be glad to show you. But my gosh, I keep doing what you're doing, girlfriend. We love it. So, you had to set up a trap. Yeah, that's what I was afraid we'd have to do. And then what do you do once you trap them? And so that gets tricky. But thanks. Yeah, that's what we may have to do, but I'm hoping the sprinkler system works. Okay. So then we were thinking, I looked at your latest work, Anne, of the farm animals. It's absolutely precious. But guess what thought came to me? I know, Anne, that you also like to write. And I think that I see something happening. Have you ever considered writing children's books and illustrating them with photos of your quilting? When I looked at your cow and your sheep and your pigs, I thought if you could write a book to go with your art, or make the art to go with a children's book, how wonderful. I don't ever remember a children's book that had quilted applique art in the art. So I'm thinking, consider doing that. Or like you had said, in other, how can you make your art fit with books? But I looked at that and went, oh my gosh, children's books with your artwork, your alligators. I mean, the cutest things. And I think it would be really awesome because there are a lot of illustrators and stuff like that. But how cool would that be? So, yeah, busy books, interactive books. But I think that you have a vision that would be awesome. So, yeah, pursue the book thing. And especially with some of your joyful, I showed Mark your donkey. He loved it. He said, yeah, she's got a vision going. The eyelashes on the donkey or the eyebrows. He said, that is so cute. So definitely consider that, hon. So yeah, that's what I was worried about, trapping them. It's, I think you can hire people, but, but let's hope the sprinkler works because I'm hoping we won't have to leave it there forever. But maybe if we do it for a couple of weeks, they'll say it's easier to go somewhere else. Yeah, weren't those the best part of her donkey? So I just wanted to tell you that, Miss Ann. And I've got plenty of landscape videos that we did that can kind of teach you certain things. But I think the track you're on right now is wonderful. And I think your signature and your vision is wonderful. So don't lose that joy, because let me tell you, in this world nowadays, we need it. We need plenty of that vision and that innocence that you capture. All right. And that's not easy. It's like when actors say doing comedy is hard. Yeah. I mean, doing joy, that's a gift. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So here is my Bargello, like I was telling you. And I got to tell you something. When we made these Bargellos, we did 2 strip sets, okay, to have enough to go the full width. My second strip set, I sewed 2 of the colors wrong, upside down. So on all of the second, at least a dozen strips coming on this side, I had to, luckily I caught it when I'd only sewn 2 on the quilt. The rest I took them out, and it was these 2 colors, and I was able to take it out above and below those 2 and then just flip them. But I had to do that twice for each ring, each strip. So, oh yeah, like think of Alice in one, or I was just Peter Rabbit, those kind of things. Those books are wonderful. So this is so I had to spend most of yesterday redoing the wayward strips, because I did them by hand. I wasn't feeling good enough to sit at the machine, so I just leaned back and just did them by hand. I wanted to tell you one thing. I wanted to thank my mental mentor, Jenny Byer. I took her last retreat. She did a class on hand stitching. She taught me so well that when, how I was telling you with these strips, you can kind of give them a tug on each side and undo them. I went to do that with my hand sewn. I couldn't budget. So maybe today I'll give you one little quick reminder tutorial on hand sewing. But you would think that your hand sewing is not going to be as sturdy as machine sewing. That's not always true. Also, I do really tiny stitches. And like I told Mark, every time I have to reload my needle, I do a back stitch, a locking stitch. So I will show you that. But I just wanted to thank Jenny Byer, because it was tough taking out my hand sewing. It was hard to do with a seam ripper. So I showed Mark. I was so proud. It's like, look what I did. And it now comes very natural. In fact, while we're talking about it, let me grab something. But I like stitching by hand, because when I stitch by hand, I can sit anywhere. I can take it to doctor appointments. I can do pretty much anything. Okay, I'm going to take 2 half square triangles and I will show you. All right, now let me see. I hadn't planned on this, so I didn't quite have things ready. Oh, good. Here is a small needle. Now, this might be just a wee bit small, but you want a shorter needle. This will be perfect right here. You want a shorter needle. The reason you want a shorter needle is the shorter the needle, the smaller the stitches can be. Okay? What happens on those strips is you sew them in long strip sets, and then you cut them, cross cut them. So there's no locking stitches there. So that's why I told people when you do the Bargello, shorten your stitch length. Okay. So now, all right. So I'm going to sew these two together right up here. And I'm glad that I've got this seam allowance because I'm going to show you. And I'm going to use this blue thread so it shows up. Let me turn over. Whoops. Let me see how I'll get this right. All right. Because I want you to know what to do when you get to a seam like this. What do you do with these? All right. So here we go. Now, you want, like I said, a shorter needle, okay? Because a shorter needle makes smaller stitches. You want to get your thread, wax it, or put thread heaven. What that does, it allows you to not have your thread get all worn. It keeps it from getting tangled as much. Okay. Hi, Diana. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in right here and I'm going to go right as close to the edge as I can get. And I'm going to make a stitch and then come up. And you see my knot. I like to put a good size knot so I'm sure it's not going to come out. Now, you would think I might go here and keep going. No, I'm going to come back a half a stitch and lock that first stitch. That way, if that knot were to get broken off or cut off, I've still got a locking stitch. So now I go down. Now, what you'll notice is this hand does the work. This hand pushes the fabric onto the needle. See now, see that tiny stitch? A short needle does a tiny stitch. And using this hand, no, I don't double my thread, not unless it was something that was really going to be tugged on, but not for regular stitching. And I just use a nice, normal, good quality thread. Okay, so now here is that needle. What I do is this hand lifts and pushes the fabric onto the needle. Then now, as soon as it gets through, I come back this way. So see how this hand is doing the work. The needle kind of just sits there and this hand moves, okay? Now this is where it would be nice to have a thimble because then you could take that finger and push the needle through. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches on the needle. And you just have to, depending on the length of your needle, you have to decide how many stitches you think you can safely get on. Now, when I go to start again, I come back a half a stitch. So now I have another locking stitch. And if you watch, I just use this hand to push the fabric on to the needle. And this is how you can get really small stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time I have 5. Then I pull the needle through. Make sure it's nice. Don't pull it so tight that the fabric is kind of buckled or ruffled. Okay, now I'm going to go back, do it at least a half stitch, make another locking stitch, and I'm going to come right up to this seam allowance, okay? Yeah, betweens are great for hand stitching. It is very easy done this way, and it's nice because I always keep one project in the works for hand stitching so that I can just pick it up and carry if I go to visit my daughter, whatever. Okay. So I'm stopping right now because see where the seam allowance is? So let me pull this up like that. Okay. And you see that my stitches aren't perfect. I've kind of got it under the camera, but it's relatively 1/4 of an inch. And just get yourself used to eyeballing 1/4 of an inch. They have certain tapes you can put along that make sure that you sew 1/4 of an inch. And let me see if I can find one of those because I keep those handy. I used to use them when I quilted. Oops, I'm almost grabbing the package. Hold on. I need to clean out this drawer. Oh boy, it's not going to let me get back there. I got to clean out this drawer, but I'll show you next time what that looks like. All right. But it's just it's like a masking tape, but it's only 1/4 of an inch wide. And if you want to get yourself, it is very common. If you want to get yourself to be able to eyeball 1/4 of an inch, then you can just lay it on there, stitch, and you can reuse it over and over. Okay, I'm going to go back a 1/2 stitch to lock it. This time I'm going to come right up at the base of that seam allowance. Whoops, right up. See the white thread coming along here? Coming right up at that seam allowance. Okay, and I did the locking stitch. So now I'm going to pull it through. At the base of that seam allowance, I'm going to come over here. So see, I'm bypassing that seam allowance. I'm going right at the base, coming right through. That way the seam allowance stays free. Now, there happens to be a seam allowance over here too. So what I'm going to do is pull that seam allowance out of the way so I can continue my stitching. Okay, so here we go. And always go a 1/2 stitch back. Now I can make sure this is out of the way again. I'm right at the base of it. And I keep going right to the last stitch at the end. And a lot of times I like to take and run my needle through that loop. Then I put it down like this. I make a circle, put my needle through the circle, hold on, not to the circle, but the main thread, and pull it, and it will pull a knot right there at the end. I usually do it twice just to make sure. Now, the best thing so now you can see it's sewn and the seam allowances are still free. And you see, and even with that bright blue thread, you can barely see even when you pull. Now, the one thing that I would like to teach you if you ever want to do this is the moment you cut loose your thread, then you make a new knot right then. Make a new knot, you wrap it 3 times around, you hold tightly to those wraps, you pull the needle out, and it'll go right down to the bottom. Now you've got another nice knot. You're ready to go. If you get yourself into a habit of knotting your needle thread, as soon as you cut it, then you will be ready. You will thank me. You'll think of me when you do it because every time, too often, we get our next piece ready to sew and we haven't knotted our thread. So if you get used to always knotting it, as soon as you finish cutting it, then you're always ready to go. So that is what Jenny Beyer taught me. She taught, a few other things, but mainly use a small needle so you can make small stitches, do a 1/2 stitch back. See, here is one of my 1/2 stitches back. Every time you pull the needle through, you lock it again. So I've locked it several times along the way. And let me tell you what, it's pretty darn strong. So that is how I was taught to hand sew by Jenny Beyer. And remember that Miss Jenny Beyer does all her sewing, piecing, and does all of her piecing and quilting by hand. So I would like to say I'm that noble, but I'm not. But she's fast at it. But she's the one that taught me that if you do part by hand, you can relax in the evening. You don't have to be away. I like sitting by Mark in the evening and hand sewing. But also think of all the times you're riding in the car, waiting for a doctor's appointment, whatever. You've got something you can do, or you go to visit your children or your friends and you're sitting in the evening, you've got something you can just quietly do. So I love it. And this has been a long thank you to Miss Jenny Beyer, but I really was impressed with my sewing skills and how they've developed, so that she taught me the right way. And boy, it works good. So now a couple things. I've got things I bought, things I've made, plans for new projects. Can't wait. And you had. Yeah, embroidery by hand, that works great too. So I haven't this week, I haven't sat at the machine except to do this. And so I haven't finished the Earth, Wind, and Fire, but I'm pretty certain I don't want to cut that up. That was a lot of work. And it's not big enough, or the subject matter is not really lending itself to cutting the way I thought it would. So I've devised a new triptych pattern. And I saw this picture. I forgot where I saw it, but this is my inspiration. Here is my inspiration. And I said, that would be cool in a triptych. And what I'm thinking is to do a moon up high on the leftmost one, then have the sun lower on the rightmost one. And so you've got the sun and the moon, but then I'm thinking, you can tell, y'all can decide what you want to do. But I like the blue strip through. I love the orange strip through. I'm thinking of adding purple mountain blocks. So I wanted to see what you thought of that. And then I would cut it. This to me looks like it would make a great, great triptych. And a triptych is an art in 3 parts. And by having the moon up high over here and the sun setting over here, I think that I was thinking about it, and to just cut something in 3, it has to have a statement, or I like ones that have a tree, and on this side it's winter, the middle is spring, and that side is fall, so far as the leaves on the trees and the weather. I've seen those, and I thought that was pretty cool, but I'm not in the mood to do a bunch of tree branches. So then I was looking at what she has done, or he has done with the blocks, and it's hard to really tell for sure, but I thought, what if I liked how in the blocks, the square, there does look like a tilted square somewhere in there, and it is a lighter or darker color than the rest of the colors. So I designed this on my EQ8. This is a paper piecing thing. And I decided to make the blocks small so that we wouldn't end up with a huge project. I'm going to have this on the site, or you can always write to me on the site and I will send you one. And that is Our Time to Quilt. You know what? I forgot. I have to tap on the little chat line. Hold on here. Okay. I better put my glasses on. Our Time to Quilt at twc.com. Okay. So if you would like this pattern, it's free. And I think that I have some newsprint paper. I think I'm going to print these on newsprint so that they're that much easier to take off later. But I am going to make sure to put this on the website. And as to how many you need, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This one has 15 across by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know, something like 12 down by 15 across. That's a lot of blocks. It'd be almost 200 blocks. So I'm thinking that I'm going to make mine a little smaller. But the reason that I thought about this is paper piecing is so easy. So easy. And in fact, let me see what scraps I have here. So let's say I would have this cut out. Then I would take my glue stick, which I must have put away. Yes, I did. And it's nice if you have one of your wooden irons, but I would take, come on. Boy, it is hard. I don't like, here we go. It is hard to get that lid off, but I understand why they put it on. Now, actually, I would be doing this wrong. Let me quickly cut this out. All right. What I would first like you to do, if you decide you want to try to make this, is to come and crease on all of these lines, these inner lines here. And another thing, this is piece number 1. Okay, now let me see. Piece number 1, which way did I number it? I think I did, this is number 1. This is number 2. How did I have this numbered? There's an order. This is number 3. This is number 4, and this is number 5. Okay, and I'll make sure that when I put this on our website, it has the numbers on it so that you can understand. So the first piece, okay, and then you take and you fold on all of those inside lines. And the reason for that is so that when you place the fabric on this side, the lines show you exactly. I'm going to go ahead and trim this a little bit more. Always run your fabric over. You trim them up later. Okay, did I fold? Yep, I folded that one, but I didn't fold this one. So let me get this one folded. All right, so now I have the lines folded. Then I come on the back of this and I put a little bit of a stick glue and I put my fabric on. And I think either having the lightest or the darkest is the way to go with this one. And then my next color, here, I keep my scraps back here so I can have things to sew with. So now what I'm going to do, number 2 is right here. So what you do is you fold back your paper on that line between 1 and 2. And then if I had my cutting mat set up, but you cut this fabric right along that on that side to 1/4 of an inch. Then when you go to put your next fabric on, you put it right sides together. See, this one's right side up, right sides together. Put it right here along, making sure it goes past the edges, okay? And just for this, I'm going to go ahead and pin this. Okay, now, oh, that's right, I don't have my machine ready to sew. I forgot, I've got to clean out my bobbin. All right, well, let's just pretend, okay? I'm going to sew right along this line right here. So I fold it just so you can see it. First thing, turn your stitch length down by several. If your sewing machine sews at 2.4 or 2.5, turn it down to 1.8. And you start stitching 1/4 of an inch before the line, and you sew until 1/4 of an inch after the line. So then pretend this is sewn. Then you fold this back along the sewing line. And if you're right there beside your iron, you can just touch it with an iron, or you can use the wooden iron. And it's just that easy. And each following one, you sew by the number. Now, the reason I liked this idea was because you can use your scrap bag. Really scrappy. You never did paper piecing. Okay, so I will definitely show you more of that. You can write and ask me, but I'm hoping it will feel funny at first because you're going to want to put your fabric on this side, but you can't. You have to have these lines showing so you know where to sew, and you sew right on those lines, going longer, each going 1/4 of an inch longer on each side. First piece, right side faces up. Second piece, right side down, touching this. You sew along here, you flip this over, and you can trim off the excess. When all the pieces, and the reason you have to do them in a certain order, actually, yeah, this is number 3. So you sew these two together, then you sew this one on. Then this one covers up these two ends of fabric. Then this one covers all 3 ends of that fabric. Then when you're all done, you take it and you trim it to these outside lines. Well, actually, you know what? No, you're going to want to leave 1/4 of an inch all the way around, because this will be the line that you sew the individual blocks together. And the nice thing about that is you can put the pin, when you put the 2 blocks together, you put the pin right where the line is. And that helps to make sure you've got them lined up. So I think this would be fun. And what you have to remember is you do a certain number of them in a blue, like this. You do a certain number of them in the red, and do varying shades, which really will make the quilt sparkle. Do the majority of them in various shades of yellow and orange. And then I think that I'm going to, let me grab a Sharpie. I think what I'm going to do, I was trying to decide whether to do a bottom row of green, but then I thought, oh, that purple would be so cool. So I'm going to come in here and do a mountain line of purples. So all of this is going to be purple. And I think the purple with the yellow and orange, then having beautiful blues and teals up here would be wonderful. And then have a moon up here. Oh, the moon would be pretty up in those blues. Have the sun down here, and then divide it into 3 pieces. So this is what I'm thinking. Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, anybody that needs help with something like that, feel free to to write me and say, hey, Deb, can we do a Jitsi chat so you can show me how to do this? Okay. Write me an email and I will answer you and we can just sit down and do a quick little Jitsi chat so that we can talk about it. But what do y'all think? I think that's going to look really cool. And I hope you will think that looks cool too. So this was my inspiration, but as usual, I'll try not to copy. I don't know who did the first one of these. I'm doing my own pattern. I drew this myself, and I chose a 3-inch size so that it would be very scrap friendly. And with having so many different colors, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to have them in any order. The more random they are, I think the more sparkly that quilt's going to be. So I'm available anytime. If you need to know how to do something and you don't know, just email me at OurTimeToQuilt@twc.com and say, help. And also the members on our group, we have some really smart members, and I know they would help too. So now, what should we do for I want us to do a stained glass. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to let you, since this week I didn't feel good enough to sit at my machine the time I needed to, I thought, I can though sit in my recliner and design these things. So that's what I did. So I saw the coolest thing online, and it was like this, but during show and tell, I'll show you the gorgeous, I might have it on my phone, the gorgeous colors. Well, like I tell you, I don't like to copy other people's work without their permission, and I wouldn't even know where to find this person, even if I did. So what I decided to do is I got to show you something. We were watching Harry Potter movies yesterday, and it's not showing up on camera. Look at that. I said, would that be a cool center design, medallion design for a quilt? So I just stopped the TV and take pictures. Here is the inspiration I saw. I thought, oh my God, that's beautiful, beautiful. Now, I'm trying to make myself calm down and do more reasonable projects because I get myself in trouble doing too many. So what I'm doing is I just wanted to kind of see the lines of this. I'm not copying it as such. I'm going to make my own freehand drawing of this, but it's going to be reminiscent of this. And then I'm going to put in what colors. So if it's going to be blue, I'll put blue, and it'll be like piece 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm going to freehand this and decide what kind of order or pattern. I don't want anything too small. But what we're going to do it's a lot easier than you think to do our stained glass. You can decide what color your background's going to be. You might want to do a dark gray that looks like the leading in a stained glass window. You might want to use black. You might want to use turquoise, whatever you want to be the leading color. I may end up going with black, but I'll see. And then what I want to do is to have a pattern for you to make. So you're going to cut out a particular shape. Let's say it's this shape right there. You're going to be able to make a pattern of that. I'm going to do mine on fusible and cut that shape out and I'll know what color family and whether to make it light or dark. And then after you cut that out, you put it right on the black or the dark gray or whatever. Put it right on your background. You're going to, and I've done stained glass quilts before, and sewing the little narrow black on the edge of each section of block is maddening. But what we're going to do is fuse it and leave the background around it. So you see what I'm saying? It's going to be much easier than trying to stitch them together, border everything with bias tape or needle turn, applique. We're just going to print the pattern on fusible. That way you can cut each piece out and fuse it. Steam a seam is probably your best bet. Steam a seam 2, or something like that, whatever you have around. And that way each piece you'll be able to cut that out when you have it ironed to that color fabric, and you're going to place it down. So you'll need to make 2 copies of it. One will be used to cut up the pieces. The other one will be your master copy. Okay? Now, the only problem is if you use black, how do you see where to put it? So I got to figure that one out. That's going to be tricky. I know I can use white chalk or white chalk pencil, but can I see through the black fabric enough to be able to put this on a light board, my final drawing? My drawing is here. In fact, I've already started it, and I'm going to try to make sure the pieces aren't too small. I don't want you to be sitting here with 500 pieces for this. The good thing about this one, too, is you can decide what color range to use and shop your scraps. Again, it's going to be very scrap friendly. Now, I'm going to use similar colors to the one in the inspiration. Let me show you that inspiration again. Here it is. I'm going to use similar. I think I'm going to do more blues, purples, pinks. But I tell you what, that touch of brown in there and the touch of red, orange is kind of cool. So, what you have to realize, if something catches your eye, you think, oh, I'll do it this way, but you might not get the same effect that you really love by the inspiration. But I'm going to draw it by hand and I'm going to make sure there's enough room around each shape so that you definitely see, you want that black to come through. Okay, so my lines in between here are probably going to be a little thicker. So what I'm going to do to give it that, I'm going to use a Sharpie that's not too narrow, so that I make sure that when you cut the pattern out, you have enough of your background to show through. So from that standpoint, it'll be prettier to be on black, but I might do it on a gray. So we'll see. Anyway, so when I finish getting this one drawn, I'll have this one available too. It will come in 4 pieces of paper. And the good thing is, you don't have to, if you want to draw your own, go for it. But you won't have to, because I'll give you my exact pattern when I finish drawing it out. Okay? So that's the good news. So I don't know how fast we'll keep working on all of this, but I thought I would let you know these are the 2 projects that I wanted to do this summer, and we'll just start working on them a little bit at a time. That's a good question, Ann. I think I'm going to try to use, let me see. I'm thinking blenders are modeled, but when I look at this, now this is not a quilt. This is a drawing. but it looks like they're using ombres. So if you have ombre scraps, that would be good. But also the fact that this is just a drawing and we're turning it into a quilt means you can use whatever you want. And when I think of stained glass windows, a lot of the stained glass itself is a varying color because of thickness or texture. And also, a lot of the stained glass windows we see in churches and all were painted. The glass is painted on. So really, you can use whatever you want. I think to have some clear colors, light and dark, but clear. I think blenders, I think batiks, all of that with ombres, all that would be really good. So just start sorting through your stash, pull out the colors that you want to use in your stained glass. Now let's say you don't want to do one. Mine's going to be this big. Let's say you don't want to do one that big. Then you know what? Do a quarter of it. It's the kind of design that this will stand on its own. And this is less than half of that original picture blown up, but it will stand on its own. So that way you can choose your colors, you can choose the size. What I think is going to be fun is it's going to be like a puzzle. And if you have everything marked and like on the original, we're going to treat it like they do a real stained glass, where you cut the piece and you lay it on the master where it's going to go when all the pieces are cut out. Melanie's here. You could trace your pattern on golden thread paper to use for placement. I love that. That's a great idea. Thank you. Miss Jody, she's so good at this. She's done this plenty of times. So I'm very tickled. I think it'll be fun. So it's going to take me a few more days to get this on the site, but by tonight, you will have the triptych one on the site, and there's no rush for any of this. Work on what you feel like when you feel like. Teresa Djokovic is here. So I just wanted to let you know the reason I did both of these this week is I didn't feel good enough to sit at the sewing machine. So I got to tell you something funny. Mark was saying today, he said, is there anything I can do for you? I said, well, I was looking for my stick, but I don't know what I had a stick. And he said, what do you want a stick for? And I said, to hang this on. This is my blue dahlia flower. So he comes back in with this. Now, this is cute, and this would definitely work, but I was kind of thinking of something a little more rustic. So maybe I will wrap twine around this, or maybe I will just go out in that yard and find a good rustic stick to hang my blue dahlia on. Okay. Now, let's see. All right. I've got Marcia's, the circular weaving that I did. I've got Marcia's. I did not go mail these this week because I just didn't feel good enough to. But I will get out this week and do them. And I've got Mary's that I've got to package up to get ready to send to her. So that's what I'm getting ready to show you now. All right, because I've been working on journals because I could sit calmly and do that. All right, here is little things that I have bought. And I think I told you that Joann Fabrics had these last week on sale. This is the XP thread, which is a higher quality than the dressmakers. And they had them on sale for $2.50 each. And I had them shipped to me. And the reason I went ahead and ordered them when I did is because they didn't have this kind of pin in stock when I wanted to pick it up from the store. So they gave me a free shipping thing. So I said, okay. Now these last two things. So, I've been refreshing my pens and I've got even more than this, but I have been going through my pen cushion and pulling out every pen, and that one's bent. So that goes in here. And yep, this one's no good. And I just go through my pen cushion, put all my pens in so I can safely dispose of them, and then put my new ones. And I got name brands so they would be good. So I can then refill them with my new ones. This has made such a big difference. And I've got to be honest, I'm pretty ashamed of how gnarly my needles had gotten in the pen cushions. So now, as you notice with this, 4 grays. This is called new gray. I love that gray. Then I got 2 blacks, 2 whites, and a natural. And that's because I use gray thread more than any other color for my piecing because it blends beautifully. All right. So you remember from last week, this is the journal that Mary bought that I had ready last week. And I have so much fun making these. These are the composition notebooks, or what I call marble notebooks. Let me get this up a little higher. Whoops, hold on. Whoops. Let me get this up. Okay. So here is one that I made. And this one's covered with fabric. And then I have some of these cool little decorations to put on, stickers. This one, I made this Velcro cover with a button on it so that you can keep your journal closed. And then I used marble fabric on the inside of this. And I put some stickers here. And then in the back, I put a little charm that says made with love, and I'll put by Deb there. Now, this one, I was also going to make a place marker, but I'd like to use a beautiful blue ribbon for that one. Oh, good. Oh, I think you will like that. Yes, that paper is amazing. Here is another one I made, and this looks like a bronze clock. Since this is stamp fabric, I put a stamp deer sticker on, couple little buttons and charms there. All right, and I do a leather placeholder. It's supposed to be suede. It's probably not real. And then this beautiful green bronzed leaf. So that's a nice, and then just stickers that I think go with the fabric. And this is that Once Upon a Time paper that I love. So these are just some things. I just thought I would show you what I was working on. And hopefully eventually I'll have an Etsy store and I can put these on the Etsy store and see if they sell. I just really love making things. And if I sell it, I can keep making more. So, yeah, journaling is absolutely wonderful. And look, I love some of the things I printed out myself, but look at this beautiful paper to go with that. And this fabric is got writing on it. So it's like journaled in the fabric. Oh, and I had this button with the roses. So I'm just having fun decorating. And then in the back, I cut the paper out that says, "There lived a handsome prince," and then put the little made with love charm. Then here is the faux leather that we did last week. And I had this cool little thing just to decorate. This little piece of wood left over from one of our kits, an elephant charm, a clock, And then here is the paper in this one with this sticker and this. And here is the page marker. And then here is the back. So let's see what else. This is a vinyl that a package came wrapped in, and I thought it was gorgeous. I thought it was gorgeous. And then I took some lace and put it here, some stickers and some pink buttons, just whatever I felt like. And I'm going to put a page marker on this one, but I want to use a pink ribbon. And there's that storybook paper that I love so much. Then these two stickers. And this one, I put a pocket in it so that you can put things. So this one will have a pink ribbon with some kind of charm on it as a page marker. And I'm not sure if I've even finished with all of these, but I'm doing different things with each one. This, I put one of these bands on to keep it closed, because some people might want to get these and put ideas for quilts in or whatever. And that way, then they might want this to keep it closed. And on this one, it is the globe map fabric. And I put this for the page marker and then put some cute little shapes that reminded me of wheels in a ship that you would use to travel around the globe. And then a sticker here, and this said far, far away, which I thought went with the trip theme. And stickers there. And this one has another pocket. So I'm going to do more pockets on these too, because people might want to put, I just see this being a quilt design book too. You can use it as a journal or a design, or keep pictures of your current projects or notes that you want to take on quilts. So I'm going to put some pockets in some so that if people want them for that. But here's my last. So these are the ones that I got made this week, and I thought you might want to see those. And okay. All right, let me move that. So I had fun doing those. And as I told Mark, sometimes when you're not feeling well, it's good to keep yourself distracted. Did I show you these? I got these from Walmart, I believe. And this was a good sale on Smet's Universal Needles. Now remember, Universal Needles are a little softer pointed. They're not sharps. Sharps are made to punch through the fabric. Universals are made to kind of work their way through the weave. But I got a pack of assorted sizes from 10 to 14. And because you know what? Sometimes I forget to change my needle. And needles are a consumable product. Okay, then Mark said, I had one of my slotted rulers. And I showed him where it was getting ready to break. I said, I'm going to need to find some more of that plastic and super glue it on each side of the crack. He said, you should get a new one. And he looked it up and he said, you can get a new one for $17. Why don't you get a new one? Well, you know me, I'm kind of cheap. So I looked at it and I looked through a couple others. And then I said, I know I can fix this one and keep using it. So I looked and I said, since he was willing to buy me a ruler, I found this ruler, and I don't even know what brand it is. It doesn't have a brand mark. And I like the plastic because it's the kind of plastic that's not as brittle. It's a little more bendable. So I think a little more forgiving. But I said, what I need is a slotted ruler that I can square up my blocks with. I can square up 12-inch blocks on my shape cutter. but the smaller ones are harder to do. So this one's every half inch, and it does blocks up to, let me see how many inches, 6.5 inches, I think, or 6 inches. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5 inches. So I got this. It was like $14. I said, this I will use all the time, because when you do little blocks, it's nice to have something that can square it up. And it has all the different angle lines so that you can make sure half square, triangle blocks, all that is trimmed nicely. So that's the things I bought this week. And can you talk amongst yourself for just a couple minutes? Because I need to run upstairs real quick, and I don't like leaving the camera, but I want to do show and tell. So if you would just sit and talk and look around, and I will be right back down. I just love taking medicine. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm coming. Just have to love medication. I am so sorry. I feel like that was so rude of me. But when you're taking that medication, sometimes you just got to jump up and run. What can you do? All right. Well, any questions or I have never ever had to do that, but not for that reason anyway. I've had to go get something I needed or forgot, but let's go to show and tell because we've got some cute things to look at. All right. And don't forget that some of your projects and quilts could be used at hospitals or children's hospitals. They do like Linus quilts and stuff like that. So there can be wonderful places to send. All right, I'm just checking my list real quick. Yep, I think we've got it. All right. So now let's go to, here it is. Here is that inspiration. Whoops, not that one too. I just think that was so pretty. And I thought, if I simplify it a little, then we can have specific pieces to put in specific places. That would be so cool. Now, if I did a petal like this, I would want it divided into probably half and put 2 different colors of that pinky purple. But just make it as colorful as you wish. All righty. I saw this one and I thought, oh, that's gorgeous too. But then I thought, there's no way for me to change that enough to not copy that design. I don't want to interfere with that amazing designer. But isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I love Art Deco period things. Now I thought of work like this, and whoops, I thought that was really pretty. That was a contender. So if you want to do the stained glass process, where all the black lines are, that's going to be your background fabric showing through. But you are welcome to do whatever design you want. This butterfly was even pretty. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so that was the stained glass look. Now let me go back to here, ideas. Okay, all right. Now, Miss Ann's. What a joy it is to look at Miss Ann's work. All right, let me bring this bigger. I love this mountain hillside. I love all the little creatures. It's just so cute. These are more realistic, and this one's just joy. And there's so much to look at with this. You never know what you're going to see next. And here is how she works with all of her different scraps and things. And this is one of her works. Let me make it a little bigger. And I haven't tried my new medicine to stop my hand from shaking, because I want to take one new medicine at a time. So if there's a problem with it, but I'll let you know if that works. I love this donkey. That is so cute. These are the ones that I just said, oh my gosh, they'd be so cool in children's books. Look at them. They're just so cute. The goose and sheep, and that is just so neat. So I love those. Okay, and I love the background. Some of the plaid fabric background she puts on them. What fun. And look at this. That is so striking. So I love that that's what she brought to the piece. I just think that's wonderful. All right. These are also what made me think of children's books because, oh my gosh, she could have an alligator and he have stories and all of that. Now, if this alligator, if this exact shape was taken from something that's commercial, then you would have to change it enough or get permission to use that. So that's the only thing is it has to be truly um your own design. But look at this with some of her writing, and then she can make art to accompany her writing. I think that's wonderful. So continue with that too, whether it's your poems or what, illustrate them with your fabric art. I think that is what a great idea. We're all used to the chalk art or the worm, I forgot the name of that one with a caterpillar. Whoops, I didn't mean to drop that. So I think it would be really neat to have applique fabric art to go with a book. I love that. Another piece, another poem of hers that's illustrated. Another one of her writings. A very talented lady, very talented. And this is her Santa. I forgot what she called him, but it's like a nomadic Santa, old fashioned. And then look at her sugar skull. That is so cute. I love that. Okay, I think that was it for Anne this week. Thank you, Anne, for keeping us inspired with all of your photos. Now, I meant to, I didn't do anything about this. So I'm just going to say that I think there's something of, I've gotten these confused. That we have two Bettys and a Debbie, and I'm not sure what belongs to who. If you're watching, drop me a little email and say, this picture such and such is mine so that I can correct it. But I love this poinsettia. That is so cool. Nice, nice. All right. Let me on. Oh, I did it again. I'm not handling this well. Now, I think this is one of the Bettys, but is it Debbie's? I am so sorry. But if somebody would help me to get this straight, whoops, I would be very grateful. This is the beach landscape. Wonderful. I love that. And then this wonderful Bargello jacket. I love that. I'm very sorry that I got these confused. I try very hard not to do this. I want to make sure that each person gets credited properly for their own work. This is Betty Meisner's Bargello from the class we had. That was fun. I love her colors. That is just beautiful. So thank you, Miss Betty. Now let's see who we're going to go check. Miss BB. And Miss BB did a beach scene. Look at this. I love it. I love the rocks and the dune grasses and the lace for the wave edges. I love the thread painting that she did in it to reinforce the sky and the water. Just beautiful. And I love that she used a decorative to be the little short weedy grasses at the base of the fencing. Beautiful. And then look at this piecing masterpiece. Isn't that amazing? So thank you, Miss BB. Beautiful. Now let's see. We have Brenda. I was looking back through Brenda's photo album and was reminded of this horse that she did that is just gorgeous, just beautiful. And it's that same piecing that Miss Jody's been trying to teach me for a while. So that is beautiful. She outdid herself. Way to go, Miss Brenda. All right, next, I have just a few little pictures this week. Oh, here we go. Well, you know that we've had deer in the yard, and here's the mama and the baby. This is the baby that was born in our yard. There's the mama. Then here is the new raccoon weapon. And that is the motion detector sprinkler that we hope to scare away the raccoons with. Then here's pictures of my son and his wife, Nikki, and their boys, Russell and Donnie, going to a carnival. And it looks like they were having such a good time. And I love this. This is little Donnie. Normally he gets a little shy, but he was having a wonderful time down here. Love that. I love all the things they do with their babies. There's the mama and the baby deer again. Here. And they can eat these bushes. It's just my rose bushes I didn't appreciate. Oh, and here's the video. There's mama eating my rose bushes. So I said, Mark, please don't let her eat my rose bushes. So he thumped on the window. All she did was, okay, I'll walk down 3 feet and eat a different rose bush. That's my double file viburnum, which needs trimmed anyway, so it can eat those. He was trying to scare it away from eating the rose bush. But she just went down and started eating the next one. So, yep, that's all she wanted was roses. Oh, that's too funny. Okay, let me minimize this. Okay, let's see. All right. Then, oh, Mark worked on a miniature of his own. Let me see if, whoops. He did a music box that my daughter Katie gave him for Christmas. And it was really sweet. And when it plays memories, then these little jewel gears move. And that's awesome. Okay, then let me see. Then I was talking to my grandson who's in the Marines, and he was spending his evening making this puzzle. I was so impressed with him. What a good guy. Then my oldest daughter went to visit her friend at the beach house that the friend is caretaking for. I mean, look at this. Is this nice or what? And it's actually the friend's sister's home they just finished building. Now, let me see. Here is the kitchen dining area of the home looking out over the beach. This is the house from the beach. It is absolutely gorgeous. So Becky enjoyed a few days down with her best friend at the beach. Isn't that beautiful? Goodness gracious. So I know it was hard for Becky to come home after all that. Then I have Becky finished a paint by number. Let me show you that. Come on. Here's a paint by number that she just finished working on. She loves those. And here she is on the beach with her friend. And here is my son and his wife and Russell riding in the little teacups. And there they are as a family at the Ferris wheel. I'm not sure Donnie liked the Ferris wheel. There he is. He got used to it pretty quick, I think. That is so cute. Then my daughter, Katie, the one on the Eastern Shore, she grew all of these zinnias. I am not good at growing zinnias, but boy, is she got it mastered. Look at that. So she sent these pictures, and I thought you might enjoy seeing these. Just beautiful. Oh, and then she built this. They needed a good closet to store some of like the clothes from off season and things. So they have an antique auction house down the street from them. She bought these two bookcases for less than $40. And look what she did with them. That is one talented girl. She put a board on the top to connect them, a clothes rod, painted them, and that is wonderful. I love that. Okay, so that's it for me this week. Oh, I did. Let me see. I had one more thing I wanted to show you, and I couldn't get it to download. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Well, I'll see while we go to the next persons. Let me see. Who is next? Debbie. Now, hopefully this is Debbie's. This will be Debbie's real work. And I love this piece and applique. Beautiful hibiscus flowers. Beautiful. And look at this beach quilt. Let me enlarge it because it is lovely. And she put shells, real shells on it. She's got a pelican and seagulls, another pelican over here. I love that. And I love the sailboat out there. And look, let me see if I can enlarge it for you to see how she handled her frothy waves. They are wonderful. I think I even see rickrack and probably some netting. Beautiful. Way to go. Lovely. Okay. She did good thread painting, I just saw too. And here is the cutest little puppy dog quilt. No, let me hold on just a second. All right, let's see her last one that I've got here. And this is beautiful. It looks like it was done with a binding tool, but done in smaller batches. Okay, here we go. I've got the videos. Hopefully you'll be able to see them good enough this way. Okay. So, got to put it in front of the camera. Oh, there we go. They went by so fast. It's a little jumpy. It's not the best video. Maybe this one's a little bit better. Hold on. Okay. So they're on a little dragon ride. Well, I'm not sure that was worth the time it took to do it, but this reminds me of a binding tool start, but it's just shorter versions. That's beautiful. Okay. Who is next? I just heard a funny sound. Let me make sure y'all, yep, y'all are still there. Okay, so next would be Joni's wonderful Bargello quilt. I know she's probably staying very busy with her grandson. Hopefully everything's going beautifully and he's probably growing like a weed. So thank you, Joni. Now, who is next? I'm looking. Okay. It looks like or is it our mount? No, Kathy Klein. Oh, got to see Kathy Klein's Bargello. Looks like tapestry. It's so beautiful. There is Kathy Klein's Bargello. Beautiful job, hon. Okay. Let's see who's next. Okay. Lori. We have a new member, Lori. And last week I showed you some of these pretty quickly. And they're lovely. I knew the dogs were going to bark. It's just coming home. Sorry about that. Dogs, hush. Look at this cat. I love that. Beautiful table runner. Dachshund. Look, Melanie. What a gorgeous quilt that is. Very talented. Ah, that's dramatic. I'm hoping that's not poor Lori. Looks like she might have hurt herself. But look at that great quilt. So musical. And then this last one, beautiful panel quilt. I love the colors. Kind of makes me start thinking fall's coming in about a month. So, I'll be glad when the hot temperatures go away, but I'm not ready to get into the fall Christmas rush. Here is Miss Mary's Bargello. Whoops, stop it. I'm clicking things wrongly. Okay, so there is part of her design. And here it is. I think she called this before and after. Beautiful job, Miss Mary. Beautiful job. Okay, and now let's see who's next. Miss Melanie. Oh no, what did I do with it? I clicked it wrong. Oops, hold on. Did I put them in Meltums? No. Okay, we'll look at Miss Meltums real quickly. And here is a view from her vacation site. Here's her amazing craftsmanship that she has on her Etsy site. Beautiful. And it's the Swan Quilt Art. Here is a wonderful pistachio dessert, Turkish style. And then these beautiful fountains that people leave to honor their loved ones that have gone on. And these fountains are supposed to give all passersby some comfort in the name of Allah. And I think that is just beautiful. Look at this ancient house. This is a wonderful woman's bazaar. Love that. Another amazing fountain and water here for the animals. I love that. And look at this, a woman herding her cow. That is a gorgeous cow. Another ancient house and the little rock that Melton painted and at first showed her that she had artistic talent and loved it. Now, I'm trying to, I have videos, but I haven't learned how to upload them. So I will be putting them on and I'll show you next week. All right. When I tried to save them, they didn't want to let me save them because I don't know what form they're in. And then look at this gorgeous machine. This is her brother, Stellar, something. Oh, it is gorgeous. I bet you it even vacuums for her. And then the beautiful chicken salad quilt she's working on, block of the month. I love this. Look at that. Isn't it cute? Good job, Miss Pat. Her blanket stitch is gorgeous. Way to go. And I know that new machine helps a lot. That's wonderful. It's so nice having a new baby. Okay, Miss Robin. I want you to be keeping Miss Robin in your thought. Here's where Melanie's folder went. Well, while it's here, I'll go ahead and open it. Now this is back to Miss Melanie. Miss Melanie went on vacation. Look at the dragon on the roof of this. Looks like a beach house. Isn't that great? So they traveled and went to Lake Michigan. Look at that. Isn't that the cutest? And here is Lake Michigan, which looks like you're at the ocean, doesn't it? I can't imagine a lake that big. Look at that. Amazing. And look at the sunset. So we hope that Miss Melanie had a wonderful time on her vacation. Fantastic, Miss Melanie. Thank you for sharing those with us. So now I'm going to take Miss Melanie's and put it back in July 14th, if it'll let me. Let me see. I know what. I'll go here, take Miss Melanie, put it in July. There we go. Yay, Deb. I want to show you these pictures from Miss Robin. But right now, if you would just keep Miss Robin in your thoughts, they have a son-in-law who's very ill, and they've already lost one son-in-law. So I feel so bad. She's had to pull back from the group for a little bit because they watch. And I'm hoping that things will get better and she can come back. I love her beautiful garden. That is phenomenal. Look at that. Love it, love it. And this is the flowable paint that she did using a balloon. So that's beautiful. But I told Miss Robin that we'd be keeping her close to our hearts and that we hope that she can come back when things get a little better. So now there's a new Sheila that did this amazing batik. Look at this. And I think this is a new Sheila. For some reason, I put that on the folder. But isn't that wonderful? I love Bargello. There's so much you can do with it. Once you've mastered the technique, and if you're creative, you can do all kinds of new designs. Here's Miss Teresa Jukovic's pattern. Look, I love that this is a Bargello done by blocks. So you could even do this quilt as you go. It's just a much more manageable project. I just love, love, love her quilts. It's just a mass of color. Beautifully done. Thank you, Miss Teresa. Beautiful. Okay, so now think we're just about at the end. I think maybe that was the end. Yes, it was. So there, and luckily I made it all the way through this time. You just never know what's going to happen. And I was telling Mark last night as we were getting ready to fall asleep, I said, "You never get bored with me, do you?" And he said, "Nope." He said, "There's always something going on around here with you." So, because I don't want to be boring. Let me cut this out now. So anyway, but that was really, really nice to see all of that. I am very sorry that I had to skip out on y'all for just a few minutes earlier. I don't know what else to say, but check your stores to see if they have cherries on sale. I have been eating these like there's no tomorrow. And that's true, because the moment they stop being in season and on sale, I can't afford it. I'm not going to spend that $6.99 a pound on them. So they have been $1.99 a pound at Harris Teeter. And oh my gosh, I just love these things. So I went online because I eat so many. I thought, I better check and make sure they're safe for you, because I don't know that much about cherries. And they went, "Oh, no, they're great. They're one of the best with antioxidants and all this." And I went, "Okay, sounds good to me." So, all righty. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I needed to tell you. So we've got some cool things in the works, and we can just pick and choose what we want to work on and when we want to work on them. Oh, Debbie said that her farmer's market had big, beautiful raspberries. Oh, yum. Oh, yes. And did Alberta, had skin cancer. Oh, that's scary. Yeah, my daughter had a spot of it on her ear and had to have her ear kind of rebuilt, and it's doing beautifully. So, honey, I hope they got it all. Everything's going to be good. Please, Miss Alberta, take such good care of yourself, okay? Down there in Alabama, it gets right bright and sunny. So, I understand, but we're glad to see you. Thank you for letting us know how you are. Are you right-handed? Because you know what? If she's right-handed, oh, that's terrible to have that hand operated on. But, oh, Alberta, you're a sweetheart. Cherries are good for inflammation. That's wonderful. That's perfect, because, boy, I have enough of that. That's for sure. Wow, it is so good to see all of you. Debbie Holt said her waves are made of yarn. That was brilliant. Brilliant. I love it. I loved how fluffy they looked. They were probably the most realistic waves I've seen. So that is great. Bonnie, we can't tell you how much it's meant to see you and to be able to chat with you, darling. It is wonderful, wonderful. So y'all are so good. Oh, well, I think we're about done for today. I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to put the triptych blocks, paper piece blocks on our site today. Feel free, let me write this again. Feel free to ask, even if you're not on our group, OurTimeToQuilt at twc.com. And feel free to write and say, "Hey, can I have any of, whatever free pattern you want?" Also, let me know if you want to join our groups IO. It's a free group, and what we like is I can put all of the patterns there. People can get them anytime they need them. They can post their photos, and we're a nice group. So thank you. Bonnie, It's the best to see you, sweetheart. Alberta, feel better. Robin, we're thinking of your son-in-law, darling, and hope that he's in very good hands, sweetheart. And everybody else, Michelle, we're thinking of you. And hopefully our Diana, my brain has been a sieve the last couple days, but we're thinking of any of you that are having health issues. We're keeping you close. So I'll see you next Sunday with more playtime. Bye-bye, everyone. Take good care of yourselves. Want to make sure nobody else had said something. Bye-bye.